Hi, this is Kath Gavin. Welcome to Breaking Bread, bite-sized messages to feed your inner man. Over the next several weeks and months, I plan to share with you my insights on the book of Revelation as I study it. So this bread will be hot out of the oven. So in this video, we're going to look at the second half of the first chapter of Revelation and answer this question. Does Revelation have its own eschatology separate from the Old Testament? Or is it about the spiritual fulfillment of Old Testament eschatology? So I'm going to read a few verses from verse 12. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, and his eyes were as flames of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. And his voice is the sound of many waters. And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp 2-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shineth in his strength. So now let's go to the book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 7. I'll read verse 5. The Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. Now chapter 10. Verse 5. Behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold. His face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in colour to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. So it's clear that Daniel and Revelation are connected. Daniel prophesied events hundreds of years into the future. However, Revelation is about things that would shortly come to pass, for the time was at hand. So let's go back to Daniel, this time chapter 9. I read in verse 26. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation. So when did the sacrifice and oblation cease? When was the city and sanctuary destroyed? Well, the Hebrew word for week, sebuah, can mean 7 years. So when it says in the midst of the week, it means that the sacrifice and oblation ceased 3.5 years before the city and sanctuary were destroyed. Does that fit with history? Is there any historical account to support this? Yes. Josephus wrote this. Eleazar, the son of Ananias, the high priest, a very bold youth who was at that time governor of the temple, persuaded those who officiated in the divine service to receive no gift or sacrifice from any foreigner. This was the true beginning of our war with the Romans, for they rejected the sacrifice of Caesar on this account. So according to 1st century historian Flavius Josephus, refusing to receive a sacrifice from the Romans is what started the Roman-Jewish War in AD 66 that ended with the complete destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70. Jesus prophesied the destruction of Jerusalem in Luke 21. Let's go there. Verse 20. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. Now, we'll go back to Daniel again one more time. Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. And in verse 9, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Now, back to Revelation. This time, Revelation chapter 5, verse 5. Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. So Daniel's vision was sealed to the time of the end, but in Revelation we see Jesus opening the seals. Why? Because it was the time of the end. So in conclusion, the description of Jesus in Revelation 1 is almost identical to that in Daniel 7 and Daniel 10, which shows us that Revelation is about the spiritual fulfillment of Daniel's prophecy made hundreds of years earlier. It was fulfilled at the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70, as confirmed by Jesus in Luke 21. When Revelation was written, the time of the end was at hand. Thus we see the seal set upon Daniel's vision loosed by Jesus. That's all I've got for you today. If you want to follow along this journey, click the subscribe button. Also, I'd love if you left your insights in the comments section below so we can break bread together. In my next video, I'll venture into Revelation chapter 2, but until then, God bless.